All right, welcome to this explainer. We're taking the Nebraska driving rulebook and, well, translating it into your ultimate survival guide for the road. If you're gearing up for your exam or you just got your permit, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down all that dense legal text into clear, memorable takeaways that you can actually use when you're behind the wheel.
Earning that license, it's a massive milestone. Total freedom, right? But let's see if you're truly equipped to handle the life-saving responsibilities that actually come with it. You have the keys, but do you actually know the rules? It's one thing to know how to start the engine, but it's an entirely different beast to understand the laws designed to keep you, your passengers, and everyone else on the road alive.
So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to cover 1. Zero tolerance and alcohol limits, 2. Seatbelts and safety gear, 3. Handling a police stop, and 4. Road hazards and vehicle checks. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Zero tolerance and alcohol limits. We're starting with the absolute heaviest reality of driving, alcohol limits and exactly what Nebraska law demands of you.
Okay, so the rules actually shift depending on exactly who's in the driver's seat. If you're under 21, Nebraska enforces a strict zero tolerance law. That means a blood alcohol concentration, or BAC, of just 0.02% is completely unlawful. Now, for commercial drivers, it's 0.04, and standard drivers 21 and over, 0.08. But for teens, the message is literally crystal clear. Any alcohol in your system is a direct violation, and yeah, it can absolutely cost you your license.
And hey, speaking of losing your license, let's talk about what happens if you refuse a test. Driving in Nebraska means you automatically agree to what's called the implied consent law. Basically, if you get pulled over and refuse a chemical test of your blood, breath, or urine, you trigger an immediate, mandatory 1-year administrative license revocation. You don't even need to go to court first. Just saying no to the test takes you off the road for an entire year.
And the way your body reacts brilliantly illustrates exactly why those limits exist in the first place. Your brain doesn't just, suddenly shut off at 0.08. At just 0.03%, your ability to make choice reactions starts lagging. By 0.05, your tracking and comprehension degrade. You literally take longer to process what your eyes are seeing. So your tracking and reaction time break down way before you hit that 0.08 mark where steering and braking are finally compromised.
To really put a fine point on it, let's talk about the actual crash risks associated with those numbers. Driving with a 0.05 BAC physically doubles your chances of being in a fatal crash compared to someone completely sober. Double. And by the time you reach 0.08, you're 3 times more likely to be in a fatal crash. The risk curve absolutely skyrockets.
All right, Section 2, seatbelts and safety gear. Let's look at the everyday, inside-the-car defenses that are strictly mandated by state law.
So a crucial thing here is understanding the legal terminology, because you'll hear these terms a lot. An officer can pull you over instantly for a primary law violation, but a secondary law? That only comes into play if you're already stopped for something else. So for example, if you're speeding and you're not wearing a seatbelt, you're going to get cited for both.
Now, if you're cruising on a provisional or school permit, listen up. Every single person in that car must wear a seatbelt, no exceptions. If you get pulled over and your passengers aren't buckled, you, as the driver, are facing a $25 fine and a point right on your driving record. Basically, you are the captain of the ship, so their safety and your record are entirely in your hands.
And while you're buckled in, we got to talk about airbags. Look, airbags are incredibly powerful. They deploy with literal explosive force to save your life. So to avoid getting hurt by the airbag itself, always keep your hands at the 9 and 3 o'clock positions on the wheel. Skip that old 10 and 2 stance you might have seen in classic movies. Sit at least 10 inches back from the steering wheel and make absolutely sure kids 12 and under are riding safely in the back seat, far away from those front deployment zones.
Moving on to Section 3, handling a police stop. Now, let's walk through a pretty high-anxiety scenario that new drivers definitely dread.
Getting pulled over is stressful, for sure, but if you memorize and stick to these 4 exact steps, you're going to ensure the safety of everyone involved. First off, use your signal and pull over safely. Second, turn off the engine and kill the music. Third, if it's dark out, immediately flick on your interior dome light so the officer can clearly see inside. And fourth, just place your hands on the steering wheel where they're easily visible.
The absolute key to this whole interaction? Patience. Your instinct is probably going to be to scramble around, find your wallet, try to be ready. Do not do it. Keep your hands on that wheel and communicate before you reach for any paperwork. Let the officer approach, roll down your window, and just wait for them to ask.
If your registration is tucked away in the glove box, just tell them that and wait for their okay before you reach. It keeps the whole situation calm and predictable.
Okay, our final section, number 4, road hazards and vehicle checks. Being a truly great driver actually starts way before the car is even moving.
This is a massive rule for Nebraska roads, especially from dusk to dawn. If a deer suddenly jumps out in front of you, your gut reaction will be to yank the steering wheel. Don't do it. Swerving to miss a deer dramatically increases your risk of a deadly crash. You could veer right into oncoming traffic or totally flip your car into a ditch. Instead, memorize this. Brake firmly, steer straight, stop safely. Don't veer for deer.
And hey, when you do finally park your car, please remember this absolutely crucial rule. Never, ever leave children or pets unattended in your vehicle. Even if you think the weather is, relatively mild outside, a parked car can turn into a literal heat stroke trap in just a matter of minutes. It's incredibly dangerous and 100% preventable.
All right, let's talk about the shoes your car wears, your tires. Did you know tires can lose up to a full pound of pressure every single month? It's true. So follow this precise routine to check them while they're cold, which just means before you've driven on them. Find the sticker inside your driver's side door jamb. Measure the pressure with a proper gauge and adjust the air. Remember, use that car door sticker for your optimal PSI numbers, not the numbers printed on the tire sidewall.
And while you're down there checking the pressure, you've got to check the tread. You can actually do this instantly with just a simple penny. Just stick the penny head down right into the tire groove. If Abraham Lincoln's head is at least partially covered, you're good to go. But if Abe's entire head is visible, you are heading for trouble. Your car's grip on the road, especially in rain or snow, is severely compromised at that point.
Also, before you hit the road, you are legally required to carry proof of financial responsibility. That's just a fancy way of saying car insurance. And it needs to meet these specific dollar minimums in Nebraska. $25,000 for bodily injury to one person, $50,000 for injuries to multiple people in a single crash, and $25,000 for property damage. Always, always keep that insurance card somewhere in your vehicle.
Finally, if you're looking to customize your ride with window tinting, ensure it actually meets these legal light transmission percentages. The front side windows must let in more than 35% of light, and those rear windows need to let in more than 20%. If your windows are too dark, you aren't just blinding yourself, you're actually committing a Class 3 misdemeanor.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, right? From the rigid reality of zero tolerance all the way to the exact safe way to handle a police stop. But remember, these rules, they aren't just test answers you memorize for the DMV. They are literally the blueprint for your survival out there. Having your license is a huge privilege, and it demands respect. So here's my final question for you. You know the laws, the limits, and the exact procedures. So how will you use this knowledge to protect your newfound freedom?